Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Arif Fauzan bin Amran, and I will present to Madam concerning on Tun Abdul Razak Premiership, and this is based on the tutorial question that Madam have pointed to me, and I have chosen this topic because I think this is an interesting one, and there are a few things concerning foreign affairs and red book, green book that really interest myself. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So question one is asking about the bilateral relationship between Malaysian and other foreign countries during Tun Abdul Razak era. So foreign affairs and bilateral relationship are very important in the world nowadays, also in the past during Tun Abdul Razak premiership, because if we do not have any relationship with any countries in the world, we will end up like North Korea or Cuba, which a communist country that didn't interfere with any relationship with other countries. So we need to have the relationship with other countries. So, what are the contribution that Tun Abdul Razak made? First of all, he made ties with Indonesia after being damaged during the confrontation period. As we all know that after independence, after Malaysia gained independence, Indonesia, Sukarno at that time were very anxious that Malaysia is some kind of theory, conspiracy theory, and he wants to launch a confrontation because Malaysia is one of his plan to be a greater Indonesia, or we call Indonesia Raya. They Sukarno often disrupt Malaysia plan for building their own country, such as they put down their military at Malaysia. They bring chaos to the country itself at that time. And during Tun Abdul Razak period, it was a peace period, a temporary peace period at that time, because there is an ongoing Cold War. There is a few conflicts that are still ongoing in the world at that time. So Tun Abdul Razak take this opportunity because at that time when his premiership, so Suharto was replaced. Suharto is replacing Sukarno, who is being toppled down by his own citizen. Okay, so at this time, Tun Abdul Razak take this opportunity to build back the relationship, because relationship between Malaysia and Indonesia is very important, because as we all know, we are from the same what we call, we are from the same, we speak the same language, we have almost the same culture, so it is not good for us to keep on fighting. All right. So next we have the first ASEAN countries having diplomatic ties with China. As we all know that China is one of the world's most superpowers today. But at Tun Razak premiership, at that time China is building its economy. Its economy is starting to boom, starting to generate very rapidly. So at that time, not many ASEAN countries wanted to speak to China, wanted to normalize relations with China. Probably they are scared also. But Tun Abdul Razak, he is very smart. He wanted to indicate a neutral approach. Neutral approach means that he doesn't want to take any side. He doesn't want to take a communist side or a capitalist side. He just wants a neutral Malaysia, and he just wants to build his country for a better future. So at that time, uh, regional British power decided to reduce its commitment in Southeast Asia. As we can see, they reduced its commitment to Malaysia, give independence. Also, there's America give independence to Philippines, and so on. This will compel Malaysia's ruling elite to replace the pro-West policy with the regional neutralization. As we all know, if the country stay neutral, they will be they will not be affected much for conflict, for any destruction made. Okay, so that is why Tun Abdul Razak have this initiative to normalize relations with China, the first ever ASEAN countries to do that. And it was the same thing that had been done during the Malacca Sultanate, where uh, um, where Tanah Melayu itself have been diplomatic ties with the Chinese Empire. The same thing happened with Tun Abdul Razak. Okay, so the Southeast Asian status should acknowledge the new power China in order to gain neutrality. So to Abdul Razak, he wanted to gain neutrality, so he acknowledged China as the new superpower in Asia. At that time, we have US, you have the Soviet and the China, who are the big players. So Malaysia, as the ordinary players, they just acknowledge that okay, you are the big player. We acknowledge that. So we do not want to make any conflict with you. So this is happened with China, but this will bring a counter effect to Soviet Union. Before that, Malaysia had established ties with Soviet Union. So what did Tun Abdul Razak do? He strengthened relationship with Soviet Union as well, because this is a term called hedging, where we have two superpowers, we have two big players, and we do not want to take any side. We want to be neutral, so uh, we decided to take both of them. We decided to be friends with all of them. Same things with Malaysia today. And during Tun Abdul Razak premiership, he also strengthened relationship with Soviet Union to avoid any misunderstanding or conflict that make the Soviet realize that we are a part of China. We support China. No, we do not support anyone, and we do not want to take part in this Cold War at the time. Other than that, he promotes Malaysia to the Gulf states to attract investors in development projects and joint ventures. At that time, the Gulf state had just discovered oil, and there are a lot of development. They decide to build a lot of buildings, a lot of infrastructure, and they have many companies in from America come to Gulf states to join venture to create more profit. At that time, Tun Abdul Razak saw the opportunity that investors can go to Malaysia and invest there as well to join venture to build companies and so on. Because at that time Malaysia is developing country. It is on its way to develop itself. So one of the way is to attract investors in development project and joint ventures, so that it will boost the economy of the Malaysia itself. And lastly, we have promotion of Zob Fund, free from any form of interference of outside powers. Okay, as we can see here, Zob Fund is means that Tun Abdul Razak do not want any big players to interfere with any Southeast Asian countries. Because of what? Because one of the reason we are sitting at in the middle of the middle between Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, so it is considered very strategic. So we do not want them to take advantage of Southeast Asian countries, any of them. Okay, so for the next question, they ask about what is Red Book Program. Red Book Program is a short form for Rural Economic Development Program. It is to target about government goals change from custody to focusing on output and cultural change. After independence, Malaysia decided to focus more on into a more stable nation. And after the riot 1969, during Tun Abdul Razak era, he decided to focus more on economy, which is to focus more on output change. This means that we need to improve more in every sector. So this contains requests of infrastructure and facilities by citizens. In order to be a developed country, we need to be more developed in any terms of sector. Doesn't mean in rural or urban area. So it collect feedback, suggestion, and monitor implementation of various development. So before that, Tun Abdul Razak was a Ministry of Rural Development, so he knows what to do. So he wants to delegate the jobs by creating a committee, which is a volunteer that will collect the information from the rural citizens, and they will put it in one book, which is called the Red Book, and it will be included in the Ministry of Rural Development for the 5-year plan, such as building infrastructure, building school, building bridges, hospitals in the rural area itself. And proposal edited by state and escalated to the ministry, and it allow information to pass up to the chain of command, and it will make this as a very very efficient delegation of jobs. So we can see that in the Red Book program, Tun Abdul Razak vision is to make sure that no one can be missed from this development. Means that doesn't matter you are in rural or urban area, we can give you the what we call the technology, the infrastructure you need, so that no one is being discriminated and so on. Next up, the question also asks, what is the Green Book program? Green Book program, as we all know, it is green. It is means that about food. This means to increase food production, and Tun Abdul Razak is considering on agricultural initiative. At that time, Malaysia was very dependent on rubber, which is from rubber export. But at that time, the world's demand on rubber decreased rapidly, and this causing inflation, major inflation to the country, and this made the price for basic needs such as food, water, and so on rises steadily. So Tun Razak sees this, and he wants to develop a plan called Green Book Program to increase food production by producing our own food. We do not want to depend on any other country because we were scared that it will happen again. Anything can happen if we too overly depend on something or some other countries. Okay, so we need to produce our own output so that our future will be guaranteed safe. Of course, you guarantee stock food adequate for people with reasonable price. It is to control inflation and to make sure the price for basic needs isn't going high up. And it existed because of inflation, as I said just now, because of rubber and world food crisis in 1974. This is the unprecedented thing, which is something that we cannot estimate, something we cannot see it coming. World food crisis in 1974. So we need to produce our own output. We also need to reduce our dependence on imported goods. So we need to increase the price so that the the tariffs, the tax can be used as a development for the country itself. I'm sorry, and it needs to produce our food internally. As I said just now, we need to produce our own food to make a Malaysia self-sufficient agriculturally through subsidies and by encouraging farmers to increase their output so that we do not need to overly dependent on other countries, and we realize that we have a lot of potential here in Malaysia. So I think that is all from me, and I would like to apologize for any inconvenient happen during my presentation. So I think that is all from me. I think that is all from myself. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.